So, what if the biggest thing holding your team back isn't their skills or even your strategy? Today, we're going to dive into a massive shift in mindset that can completely unlock your team's potential. It's called the outward mindset, and trust me, it changes pretty much everything.
You've probably been there, right? You're on a team, everyone's super smart, really capable, but things just feel stuck. Projects drag on, people work in their own little bubbles, and it feels like everyone's just pointing fingers. It's like there's this invisible wall. But what if I told you we could not only see that wall, but actually tear it down?
Okay, so let's get into our first section, the invisible barrier. Because the real source of all that frustration and conflict, it's not what you think. It's not about talent, it's not about strategy. The root cause is way deeper, running just under the surface of everything we do every day.
And here it is. This is the big idea from the folks at the Arbinger Institute. All those behaviors we see, the blame games, the lack of teamwork, those are just symptoms. The real issue, the thing we have to fix, is our mindset. It's about how we're seeing the situation and the people around us. If you want to change what people do, you first have to change how they see.
Which brings us to our next section, the inward versus the outward mindset. See, there are really only two ways we can operate. And understanding the difference between these two, well, that's the key that unlocks absolutely everything.
Let's break this down because this is so important. On the left, you've got the inward mindset. This is when we see other people as objects. They're either vehicles to help us get what we want, obstacles that are in our way, or they're just irrelevant. You can see how this leads straight to blame and conflict, right? But now look at the right side. With an outward mindset, we see people, as individuals who have their own needs, their own challenges, their own goals. That simple shift changes the entire dynamic. It's where empathy and real collaboration begin.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do you, actually do it? How do you make that shift? Well, luckily for us, there's a really simple, practical framework to help. It's called SAM, and it's designed to make this whole mindset thing something you can actually put into practice like tomorrow.
And the SAM framework is just brilliantly simple. First, you see others. You take a second to actually understand what their needs, objectives, and challenges are. Second, you adjust your own efforts. Based on what you just learned, how can you change what you're doing to be more helpful? And third, and this is key, you measure your impact. Did what you did actually help them? This simple loop creates this incredible positive momentum.
And look, this isn't just some fluffy corporate theory. It works in the real world, even in really tough situations. Take the Kansas City Police Department. They used these exact principles. They started to really see the community's needs, they adjusted their approach, and they measured the impact. And the results were incredible. They shifted from a place of conflict to one of genuine understanding, which totally transformed their relationship with the community. It just proves this can work anywhere.
All right, next up, coaching the shift. Because it's one thing to get this for yourself, but if you're a leader or a coach, the real question is, how do you help other people make this change? So let's look at some super practical ways you can start guiding your teams.
And here's something really cool for all you coaches out there. This whole outward mindset approach, it's not some random management trend. It lines up perfectly with the gold standard in coaching, the ICF core competencies. At their heart, both are all about being client-centered, open, and flexible. It's the foundation of great leadership and great coaching.
You can see the direct link right here. For instance, when you use a tool like a SAM diagram to map out your team's needs, well, you're literally helping to evoke awareness. Or if you encourage someone to keep an impact journal to track how their actions affect others, that helps them maintain presence. And using reframing prompts to shift from blame to curiosity, that's just a fantastic way of using powerful questioning. These are real tools you can use.
In fact, here's some questions you can start using in your very next conversation. Instead of just telling people what to do, you can ask things that get them to think outwardly. A question like, what challenges might your team be facing that maybe you haven't considered? That gets them to see. These questions don't command, they empower. They help people find that outward path for themselves.
So, what's the bottom line? What actually happens when a whole team or even a whole organization really embraces this shift? Well, the results aren't just about feeling good. They are totally measurable. Let's look at the real-world impact.
So, based on Arbinger's case studies, the numbers are pretty staggering. Organizations that really commit to this see performance gains between 20 and 50%. And get this, that's not from some new tech or a big reorganization. That massive return comes from something as simple and as powerful as a shift in how people see each other.
And those numbers create a workplace that is just fundamentally healthier and more effective. When people feel seen, they take ownership. Collaboration just naturally replaces conflict. And hey, people actually want to stick around. It creates a culture where everyone is rowing in the same direction because they can actually see how their work helps everyone else succeed.
So I want to leave you with this one final thought. Just take a second and really think about it. If you honestly saw every single person you work with, not as a tool, not as an obstacle, but as a person with their own goals and their own struggles just like you, what's the one small thing you could change tomorrow? That right there, that's where this whole thing begins.